Chad Priest dunks on atheists. I don't know what episode this would be. And I've got backup today. I'm joined by, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, my name is Remy. I'm with Lutheran Answers.
Remy with Lutheran Answers. We're going to have the link in the description if you want to check out his podcast. I highly recommend it. I've listened to a few episodes myself. He has a YouTube channel that has a bunch of 5-second videos on it. So I would recommend the podcast if you want anything of substance. Now, today we're going to be doing one of the favorite pastimes, and this is looking at terrible atheist memes or non-Christian memes that try to dunk on Christians, and we're going to reverse that. Rather than preparing a script in advance, looking at a meme or an image in advance, and formulating a response to it, I'm going to see what happens if we do this in real time, if we have enough brain power between the two of us to respond to these well-thought-out internet atheist arguments. So there are no.
They have all that science.
They've got the science on their side, but we have just pure religious fanaticism, and that's hard to beat. So the goal here, again, since this is kind of we're testing the waters here, the goal here is to have a quick, pithy response to these arguments. You imagine somebody, it's like a drive-by. Somebody throws this out at you, and you have to yell out a response as they continue to drive off, and just really decimate them with facts and logic or whatever. But yeah, so I tried to pick. So what we're gonna do is he's got what, 2 or 3 memes, something like that he's gonna share with me, and I'm gonna try to respond to them in time. We're gonna take turns. And I've got 3 that I'm going to share with him. And I specifically picked memes that I didn't expect were going to have this super duper long kind of thesis about, like, you know, the Epicurean paradox. You could write literal books answering that thing. So I decided to pick some that were not quite at that level. So anyways, let's kick this off. I will go first. I will send you a meme, and we're going to put it on the screen afterwards in post. So I want you to try to read out the meme and then imagine I'm the person who thinks that this is a rational argument and respond to that.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with this classic right here. Let me see if I can paste it in. All right. Boom. Checkmate, Christian.
I have faith. And I read a very old book about it. Trust me, the spaghetti monster is real. If you do not believe he sacrificed his meatballs for your salvation, you are doomed. The flying spaghetti monster finds your lack of faith unacceptable.
So how do you respond to that?
Can you show me the book?
Oh.
Can you show me the flying spaghetti monster book that you say you've read? Here's the thing. Like, the Bible, okay, I get it. And see, this is the hard thing. When I was trying to find these memes, I kept running across memes like this. And the Bible, they say, oh, just because you have an old book doesn't mean it's true. But, like, there's so many historical attestations to the Bible. The Bible has such a congruous story across to, 66 books, 40, 50 some odd authors over 6,000 years. And it all is very coherent in a single story, which is like literally it's impossible. Like, we can't even get good Star Wars sequels and George Lucas is still alive. So I don't know. It's the book being old is not the point necessarily.
Yeah. I think
that's my official response.
I think I'd probably go along the same lines. Basically, I mean, it's not comparable. You could throw out people usually use something like Harry Potter or something. Oh yeah, well, Harry Potter's real because
Spider-Man
written
comic
in a book.
books. Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, it's really not comparable if you look at all the stuff behind the Bible and the attestation about the Bible. But looking into claims is difficult. All right, your turn. You can send me what you got. I'll try to respond, and then you can pile on top of that. I'm already negatively anticipating this.
I think this one's pretty funny.
All Okay, yeah, we've got Rick Sanchez here. Christianity is DLC for Judaism. This reminds me. There's another meme where it's like the Holy Sand trilogy or something, and it's like the like the Torah, like the New Testament, and the Book of Mormon or something like that. Okay, for a serious answer to this, in the intertestamental period, there were multiple types of Judaism that developed. There was Judaisms, plural, which is interesting. You actually see this acted out in the New Testament, where you have Jesus interacting with people who are often just referred to as the Jews, or he's interacting with people in Judea, which is, the term Jew comes from. But you see that there are those who have a continuation of that belief of Yahweh, the belief of the Old Testament, the belief of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all of that stuff, a continuation of that. Contrasted with the people who follow, for example, I think they call it the traditions of the elders. There was a specific kind of collection of rabbinical interpretations of, okay, you're not allowed to work on the Sabbath, therefore here are all these things you're not allowed to do. They called it building a fence outside of the law. So in the case of Christianity being a DLC for Judaism, I think it would be more appropriate to say that Christianity is kind of like the payoff for, if you want to say the Old Testament is just Judaism, which I would again argue with because Judaism doesn't develop until the intertestamental period. I would say that Christianity is a payoff. If the Old Testament is Chekhov's gun, Christianity is the firing of that gun. This is why, like Hebrews, the book of Hebrews will reference back all the sacrificial systems and stuff like that and say, look, see, all of this stuff is a payoff. It's a payoff in Christ. But if a Christian wants to understand this better, I would recommend John chapter 8. Jesus is talking with the Pharisees, and they say, "Oh, we're children of Abraham," and stuff like that. And they say, we're the true Jews or whatever, the true descendants of Abraham. And Jesus is like, it's not your bloodline, it's your belief system that makes you the ancestor. So I would argue that Christianity is the true fulfillment of the Old Testament stuff. All of the Judaisms that branched off of that, I would say, I wouldn't even call them DLCs. I would call them fan fictions. So Christianity being a DLC for Judaism, only in the sense, like only if you were comparing it to a really terrible game that just didn't have an ending. Like if it was like Mass Effect and there was a DLC that you put on the end of it that made all of this stuff, tied off all the endings, only if that was what you meant by DLC. But if you mean it's like an extra thing that you don't need to play to get the full story, I don't know about that. What do you think?
Right. I would respond with the meme of, like the astronaut with the gun to the back of the other astronaut's head. I would just make that meme and respond with, wait, it was Christianity all along? Always has been.
Oh, I just thought of it. Yes, it's DLC in the same way that EA Games puts out DLC. It's actually the same game. They just chopped up. They just divided it.
Right.
It's actually supposed to be part of the core game. You just pay extra for the New Testament for whatever reason. All right. Fair. All right. Let's see, Christian man, how you handle this.
Which way, Christian man?
This absolute zinger of an argument. Never been dealt with before.
Oh, no. Interesting. Yeah, so we don't have the same God. That's the response. That's the actual response. Muslims and Jews do not worship the same God that Christians do. In fact, I'll even go ahead and go so far as to say that both Islam and Judaism are false religions that worship a false God, because Jesus is God, and so to deny that Jesus is God is to deny God. So if you aren't worshiping Jesus, you aren't worshiping God, and that's it. Full stop.
Yeah.
Basically, they stole our books.
Simply having the same name, saying, okay, well, we worship the God of Abraham, and having that be like the title again, like John 8 is like, well, are you following the teachings of Abraham and the teachings that were given to Abraham? And so, yeah, like the God of the New Testament is the same God of the Old Testament. Yeah. Christians, Muslims, and Jews all worshiping the same God. It's like, do they all worship Jesus? Really? Do they? I think not. I think not.
Yeah.
And I get into the details of what the other religions tend to think of Jesus, depending on what account you're listening to, but it's not always positive. But yeah.
No.
So I completely agree. I think you nailed it there. Again, I go back to the not DLC but fan fiction for Islam, which is 700 years after the fact, and Judaism, which is kind of, I don't know. I mean, it's older, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's faithful.
Right. Okay.
All right,
so I picked this meme. Specifically because it has a theological point that I want you to address. Because it's a very important theological point.
Oh no. I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not. I guess we'll find out. Huh?
No, I'm being dead serious.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Jesus waiting 3 days so he can stop pretending his death. Yeah, so there's a lot of theories about trying to explain away the crucifixion. An interesting sort of assumption would have to be made that the Romans were bad at crucifixion. Like, to be able to crucify someone, and did they not realize he was faking his death on the cross? I mean, the spear and everything like that. They're like, well, he's dead, and he's like, haha, this is a party trick or whatever. I have a false bladder on my side. Like, the Romans would have to be incredibly stupid and incompetent to have done as many crucifixions as they did and still fail to realize that Jesus was faking his own death. On top of that, you have the problem of the resurrection itself. The tomb, the stone is guarded. The tomb is guarded. The stone is rolled aside, not so Jesus can get out of the tomb, but so others can get into the tomb and see that Jesus wasn't there. What happened in that period? Like, if you wanted to make the argument that the disciples were going to seal the body and pretend Jesus was resurrected, or if Jesus was faking it the whole time in the tomb, the chief priests at the time already were a step ahead of you. They were already saying, okay, the disciples are going to fake his resurrection. We need a guard. And depending on how you read the text, either Pilate gives them a Roman guard or they use the temple guards. He says, they said, we need a guard. He says, you have them, either here you can have them or you already have them. Why are you bothering me more? In any case, hostile guards were guarding the tomb. What happened with them? But yeah, I appreciate the comparison between Jesus and Mr. Bean. That's always the most reverent sort of direction to go.
Oh, of course, Mr. Bean is known for his reverence.
If you watch the TV show, he does like descend out of heaven and just appears on the street. So I don't know. There's some otherworldly aspect to Rowan Atkinson.
So my thoughts on this meme is that just because Jesus rose from the dead doesn't mean he was faking his death. He actually died. He really, truly, literally, physically died. So that would be my only response.
It's kind of an important part of the story. That's kind of the point of a crucifixion.
Yeah, little important.
I don't think I've ever heard of a crucifixion account where they're like, yeah, let's stick the guy up on a cross for a while and then like let him live and take him off the cross. Okay, here we go. The one of the most attacked books in Christianity, Genesis, particularly the creation account. How do you explain this glaring inconsistency? As soon as the meme sends over.
Oh no. According to Genesis, we all come from Adam and Eve, who had 3 sons.
That's it. That's all they had.
Oh,
Cain,
think
Abel,
about
and
it.
Seth.
Take all the time you need. Oh man. Yeah, so I actually ran across this meme the other day and had to fight not to respond. It took a lot to just walk away from this one. It's a patriarchal religion and written in a patriarchal society by patriarchal people. They only list the sons. They don't list the daughters. And we know they had daughters because Cain had a wife.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look this up. Genesis, what would that be? Genesis 3 or 4 or something? Yeah, like this, the baffling, I don't know, illiteracy behind this post, because it's not like a misunderstanding. You have to be almost willingly ignorant. So yeah, Genesis 4 verse, I'm going to do 17. So, okay. So 16, then, so Cain kills Abel. Then Cain went away from the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. What? Where did she come from? She must have just sprung out of a rock, or, out of the side of the head of, oh wait, that's a different religion. I saw this one, and at first I thought, okay, this is so stupid. And then I realized, no, somebody believes this. There is somebody out there who made this. I genuinely don't believe, I don't believe that it was malicious sarcasm. I believe somebody actually made this meme because I've seen them post it and
yeah,
mic drop. You can't explain that, Christians. How do 3 sons become, it's like, So, first of all, we have to admit to biology. And that's a whole different can of worms that's going to get my YouTube channel banned. But
right.
But yeah, there you
go. You have to admit that women exist first.
You have to. Not on the internet, apparently.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't tell Tumblr that.
Oh, no. Yeah, so there we go.
I'm sorry.
The Genesis disproven. we all came from monkeys. Oh man. Yeah, okay. There we go. Atheists, consider yourself dunked on. Thank you again to Remy for joining me and giving me some backup. These were some really tough theological questions.
Really tough.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how we got
I have
through
to go consider my life choices.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. I may have to. I don't know if there's an atheist seminary out there, but I need to start considering application.
Where you learn to not believe.
You learn to not believe. Yeah, you spend. Well, that's that. We just call that college. You spend 4 years studying how to not be faithful. Yeah. With that, thank you for all 6 of you viewers. Take care. God bless. Yep. And let us know if you want to see more of these. Yeah.